It's funny. Maybe not so funny, but you ever get that feeling, like ever since 2020, the world's been on fast forward.
Yeah.
Like we're all kind of stuck in this, I don't know, surreal sci-fi movie where reality keeps getting, well, weirder.
Hmm. I think you've hit on something that a lot of people are feeling. This Reddit post we are diving into today, it really captures that whole hold on what just happened feeling.
Right.
Thousands of upvotes, comments, people are comparing it to other big moments in history like 9/11, 2012, even the 2016 election. There's definitely this sense of a collective shift.
Yeah, it's like things just feel different.
Right.
And the person who posted this, they even made this list of everything that's happened in such a short time. COVID, war in Ukraine, AI suddenly everywhere,
Yeah.
even talk of brain chips and robots. I mean, it's a lot.
It is. And it all ties into this idea of exponential growth in technology.
Okay.
It's not that technology is literally speeding up, but the advancements keep piling on top of each other, so fast that it really changes how we see things.
So like how do you wrap your head around that?
Imagine you're in a car, right? And it's slowly accelerating.
Okay.
At first, you barely notice it, but then all of a sudden, bam,
Yeah.
you're holding on for dear life. That's kind of where we are now with technology.
Oh, wow. That's a really good analogy.
Thanks.
It kind of explains why even small changes can feel, I don't know, kind of creepy.
Hmm.
Like one commenter said, the sun looks whiter now. Not that like amber color we're used to.
Exactly. It's these tiny differences that make us feel like something's off, even if we can't put our finger on it.
Yeah.
But there's another part of this shifted reality feeling.
Oh, okay.
Trauma. We need to talk about trauma.
Okay, yeah, because so many of the comments mention specific years, not just 2020, but going back to like 2016, 2012, even 2001 with 9/11.
Yeah.
Like those were turning points for when things felt different.
And this is where we get into collective trauma.
Okay.
This idea that these huge global events, pandemics, wars, attacks, they leave a mark on everyone.
Even if we weren't like directly affected.
Even then, we all feel the ripple effects, It's like the whole world went through a shock, a collective one, and we're still dealing with the aftershock.
Oh, wow. Okay, so how does that connect to this feeling that reality is, well, off?
Trauma can really mess with how we experience time. Things can feel super sped up and weirdly slow at the same time. Remember that commenter who talked about driving on a highway?
Oh, yeah.
Like going 100 miles per hour, slamming the brakes, and then suddenly you're at 200.
Yeah, it was pretty intense.
That's trauma messing with your sense of time.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Especially when you think about all the comments about like increased anxiety, nightmares.
Mhm.
Those are classic signs of trauma, right? Seems like a lot of people are still dealing with what's happened.
Absolutely. And one commenter even said they feel this constant panic and numbness. That's really common, especially after something huge like the pandemic. We're all still adjusting to a world that just feels different, fundamentally. And that process of adjusting, it can be really disorienting. It's not just the trauma itself, but the feeling of losing control.
Yeah, that's a huge part of it. This whole Reddit post is full of people talking about feeling powerless, disillusioned. It's like the world's spinning out of control and we're all just stuck on the sidelines watching.
And that feeling of helplessness, it's definitely connected to how fast everything's changing.
Okay.
We're constantly bombarded with information, a lot of it bad news.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible to keep up, like trying to drink from a fire hose. And when we feel overwhelmed like that, it's natural to feel like we're losing control. And that feeling of losing control, it gets even worse when it feels like things are happening to us
Yeah.
instead of by us. Like that comment about billionaires and technology, they're the ones calling the shots.
Right. It really makes you think like, where do we even fit into all of this?
Exactly.
And it's not just about billionaires either. There's all this anxiety about AI too. All those comments about brain chips and the singularity. It feels like we're on the edge of something massive and we have no clue what it means for like humanity.
Right. It's natural to feel uneasy about AI, especially with how fast it's changing. This
Yeah.
isn't some far-off sci-fi thing anymore.
Already here.
It's already woven into our lives, sometimes without us even realizing it. And that brings up some serious questions, right?
Oh, yeah.
About ethics, about people losing their jobs, about whether we have enough safeguards in place.
It's not just about, some dystopian future where robots take over.
Right.
It's about how AI is shaping our world right now.
Exactly.
Which actually brings us to another, like, super interesting part of this Reddit post.
Okay.
This might be a little out there.
I'm listening.
The whole idea of alternate timelines and the Mandela effect.
Ah, yes. The classic, what if we jumped realities?
Right. It's such a popular idea, especially when things feel so weird.
Definitely. But scientifically speaking, there's no proof that we've, you know, shifted into a parallel universe.
So, no secret portals or glitches in the Matrix.
Not that we know of.
Bummer. But what about the Mandela effect?
Mm-hmm.
Like those shared false memories. Is that a real thing or just, I don't know, our brains messing with us?
The Mandela effect is really fascinating psychologically.
Yeah.
While it doesn't prove anything about alternate timelines, it does show how easily our memories can change.
Oh,
They can get distorted, influenced by others.
Like that whole debate about what it Looney Tunes or Looney Tunes?
Exactly.
There's always tunes.
Right.
But so many people swear they remember it differently. It makes you wonder what else we might be misremembering, right?
It really does. It reminds us that how we see reality, it might not be as accurate as we think. But, this disorientation, this uncertainty, it fuels those conspiracy theories,
Oh, yeah.
especially ones about things like CERN and the God particle.
Yeah, like smashing atoms together somehow ripped a hole in space-time.
Exactly.
And now we're in this slightly different reality. I know it sounds far-fetched, but...
It speaks to this very human need to explain things,
Yeah.
especially when things feel so out of our control. Conspiracy theories, they offer this sense of order, of meaning, when the world feels chaotic.
It's like having someone or something to blame.
Exactly. But maybe instead of going down those rabbit holes, we should look for ways to handle this shifted reality feeling.
Okay, so how do we do that? How do we wake up from this, like the original poster said?
It's a great question.
Yeah.
And there's no quick fix, no magic formula for changing how we see things.
Okay.
But the comments on that Reddit post, they actually offer some good insights.
Really?
People are finding ways to cope, to reclaim a sense of agency.
Oh, that's good to hear.
And one thing that came up a lot was balance.
Balance.
Like balancing our time online with real life. I know I could use less doom scrolling and more, I don't know, fresh air. Exactly. A lot of people talked about grounding themselves in the physical world, spending time in nature, connecting with loved ones,
Yeah.
doing things that bring them joy. It's all about countering that digital overwhelm, that disorientation.
So like hitting pause on the constant flood
Yes.
of information.
Yeah.
Right. Reminding ourselves that there's more to life than just what's on our screens.
Exactly. And while we're talking about information overload,
Yeah.
a lot of commenters were also struggling with how to filter through all the noise.
Especially with news and social media.
Right. So another part of balance is being careful about what information we let in.
Okay.
We have to remember that algorithms, they're designed to keep us hooked. And that often means feeding us content that triggers fear, anxiety.
Wow.
It's easy to get stuck in that negativity loop and end up feeling even worse, more powerless.
So instead of letting the algorithm decide what we see, how we feel.
We need to be more proactive.
Okay.
Choose our sources, curate our own digital diets, so to speak.
Yeah, like being more conscious about what we consume.
Mm.
I like that.
And along those lines, another big theme was community.
Yeah. It was amazing how many people felt better just knowing they weren't alone in feeling this way.
Right.
Like, okay, maybe I'm not going crazy. Just knowing that others get it, it's incredibly validating.
Absolutely. Sharing our experiences, even the tough ones.
Yeah.
It's so powerful. It normalizes those feelings, reminds us we're not alone in this weird new world.
It's like this feeling of solidarity,
Exactly. Like we're all in this together.
which is such a powerful antidote to that feeling of isolation,
Mhm.
of powerlessness that so many people are dealing with right now.
Right.
It's like, okay, maybe I can't change the whole world, but I can connect with others who get it.
Right.
And maybe together we can find a way to make things better, create something meaningful, even amidst all this change.
That's a great point. We're social creatures. Connecting with others is essential.
Yeah.
Especially when we're stressed, overwhelmed. And it's within those communities, those shared spaces, that we can find support, encouragement, inspiration.
It's like shifting from what can I do to what can we do together?
Exactly. It's about using the collective wisdom, the creativity of the community to find solutions, to push for change, to create hope when things feel bleak. It's about recognizing that Sure, we can't control everything happening around us,
Yeah.
but we can choose how we respond, how we connect, how we shape the future.
So we've talked about finding balance,
Yeah.
being more mindful of the information we take in and connecting with others who get what we're going through. But there was this other idea that kept coming up in those Reddit comments. And I got to be honest, this one's a little tougher for me.
Oh, what's that?
Embracing the unknown.
Yeah, that can be a tough one, especially when so much of our anxiety comes from feeling like things are out of control.
Exactly. It's like, how can you embrace something that feels so scary?
It's definitely a shift, right? But the unknown, it's not always bad. In fact, it can be a source of growth, discovery, even wonder. One commenter even said that all this change, this rapid pace, it actually sparked their curiosity, made them want to learn new things.
Oh, wow. So instead of feeling overwhelmed by all the information, all the technology, they're like leaning into it.
Exactly. They're seeing it as an opportunity.
Okay.
And that ties into another idea that can be really helpful, especially now, surrendering control.
Okay, hold on. Surrendering control. Isn't that kind of like giving up, like waving the white flag and saying, all right, world, do what you want?
It's not about giving up or being passive.
Okay.
It's more about recognizing that we can't control everything. And sometimes letting go of that need for control can actually be really freeing. It allows us to be more present, appreciate the good things, even when things are chaotic.
I can see that.
Yeah.
But wouldn't surrendering control also mean like giving up on trying to make a difference?
Not at all. It's about focusing our energy on what we can control. Our thoughts, our actions, our choices. And trusting that things will unfold as they should. It's about finding that inner peace, even in the chaos, knowing that even when we feel powerless, there's still strength within us, a strength that can't be taken away.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
But it still feels a little, I don't know, abstract. Are there things we can actually do to cultivate that sense of surrender?
Absolutely. Mindfulness practices like meditation, deep breathing, those can be super helpful.
Oh.
They help you focus on the present moment, step out of all those racing thoughts about the future. It's not about clearing your mind completely or reaching some perfect state of bliss.
Right.
It's about noticing your thoughts, your feelings, without judging them, letting them come and go, like clouds.
I've heard about mindfulness, but I've never actually tried it. Does it like really work?
It's not a magic solution, but over time, mindfulness can help create a space between you and your thoughts.
Okay.
You start to realize that you are not your thoughts. And that gives you the freedom to choose how you react to them. So instead of getting swept away by that shifted reality feeling, you can observe it,
Okay.
like you're watching a movie.
So instead of being in the movie, caught up in the drama, we can be the audience.
Exactly. And from that place of observation, you can make more conscious choices. Focus on what you can control, like your actions, your reactions.
Yeah.
You can choose to appreciate the good things, even amidst all the uncertainty. And you can choose to see the unknown as an adventure, as a possibility.
That's a really different way of looking at things. It's not about ignoring the hard stuff or pretending everything's perfect.
Yeah.
It's about finding a way to deal with it all with a little more grace, a little more resilience.
Exactly. And as we practice surrendering control, we might even find that the things we were holding on to so tightly, they start falling into place more easily.
Right.
It's like we're letting go of the oars and letting the current guide us, trusting that we'll end up right where we need to be.
Wow, that's a beautiful way to put it. It's such a hopeful message for anyone who's feeling overwhelmed, by all the change and all the uncertainty. It's a reminder that we don't need to have all the answers. Sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is just let go.
And remember, surrender isn't a finish line, it's a practice. It's a way of being that allows us to find peace, meaning even when things are tough.
It sounds like it takes a lot of courage to embrace that uncertainty.
Yeah.
But maybe if we can let go of the need to control everything, if we can face the unknown with curiosity, with an open heart, maybe this feeling of living in a shifted reality, maybe it'll feel less scary, maybe even, I don't know, exciting.
That's the invitation, isn't it? To step into the unknown with open hearts, open minds, to trust the journey, and to discover that strength, that resilience that's inside all of us.
Beautifully said. And on that note, I want to thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the collective anxieties of our time and the search for meaning in this ever-changing world. If you enjoyed this conversation, make sure to subscribe to Voices of the Soul and check out our YouTube channel, Shauna Palage, for more deep dives and discussions. Until next time, be well, stay curious, and embrace the adventure of the unknown.